Welcome back to this exciting tutorial. We're going to be using Blender 2.81 to continue our Blade Runner Particle City. Let's get started. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to be working on the platform, like I said. So we're going to put together this cool landing platform for our hero car and set up some cool like holographic rings and stuff that are going to appear as sort of like a landing pad, basically. And then that should be what we'll have time for today. So we'll get that done, and then just to kind of give you an idea of where we're going for the end of this, we're going to land this tutorial with probably the most exciting video of all, I hope. I'm pretty excited about it because it's a really, really cool effect. But we're going to basically create a rainstorm in this city that doesn't use volumetrics or particles in the way that you would think. So it's going to be real low cost on the system. So not a really CPU or GPU intensive process. So usually if you create volumetrics or, like we were doing real rain, like with actual particles, it's a lot of memory and a lot of compute power that needs to be used. But we're going to cheat and do something a little different. And the result is actually pretty sick. So I'm excited for that one. But before we get to that one, we need to do this one. So let's do it. Okay, so first off, we're going to switch over and we're going to go straight in onto our platform. And what we can do is, just to simplify everything, is we can turn our traffic off. We'll separate out the exact elements we're going to work on. So let's, within our scene collection, let's create a new collection. Go find it. We'll call this platform. And in platform, let's drag the platform itself. And then we also want to drag our main hero car, which is this one right there. So yep, these guys. So let's drag them over. There we go. And then what we can do is turn the city off. And now we have exactly the bit that we want to focus on, which is this. So yeah, great. This will help us just focus so we're not worried about seeing everything else in the scene. First thing I want to do is let's get it positioned. Let's get it positioned well. So I'm just going to go down a little bit on it so we're kind of landing roughly on the surface. Then I'm going to scale it up on the X and probably on the Y as well a little bit. Just make it a little bit larger. I'll just quickly pop on city just to double check how that's shaping up. Yeah, that's fine. That'll work well. We could probably keep city on. Actually, it's not too distracting. I may turn it off in a bit. Okay, now we're going to create a new particle system. So let's jump over into particles. And with our platform selected, we'll just hit plus to create a new particle. We're going to go straight to physics and go none. And then we're going to go straight to render. Here it is. And we're going to select collection and city tiles. We're going to use the count. And also then up at our emission, we're going to go right up to the top. And let's set our frame start as 0 and end as 1. And let's set our lifetime to something that is nice and long. Oops, that was weird. Nice and long. There we go. There they all are. Okay, cool. So let's decrease the number of particles. We're going to bring it right down. And I'm also going to turn off the towers. So let's head over here. And I think it's the first one has some towers and the last one. Yep. Okay. So the first and the last one, we'll get rid of those. And then let's go to scale. We're just using this to kind of help us quickly get something that has a bit of interest to it. That's pretty cool. It's probably enough particles. We're going to have some scale randomness as well. Let's crank that all the way up. That'll really give us a lot of things to work with. Increase the particles, maybe. Take it down. Okay, we'll keep it at about 59. And then what we can do is I can pull the whole thing out and give it, so we're giving our car like a nice space where he's going to land. We could even use these things as almost like, something he lines up to park, like a charging station or something like that. That could be fun. And then, yeah, look, that looks really great. Awesome. Okay, now what we want to do is we're going to go up to our wrench icon. We're just going to hit convert. And that's going to take all these and make them separate objects. We're going to join them all up together because you can see this is an absolute ton of objects. So let me select all those cubes. Just like last time when we were doing this, we were converting our particle system. We need to remember to make all these single users, because right now they're connected to all the particles that are being emitted across our entire scene because we're using the same thing. So we don't want to mess things up. So let's select all these guys, hit F3 and make single user. And selected objects. Let's open up the drop-down box. We want to make the object data, and that's it. We'll just have those two. Okay, so now they're single users just by ticking those boxes. So now what we can do is join them with our platform. And so Control J, this is still on it. Let's see if I get, yeah, that's it. Okay, so now we've got this one continuous object, which is our platform. Okay, now let's try some stuff with this. Let's hit scale on the Z and bring that up. And that's pretty cool. Let's try rotating it on the Z. Rotate Z 180. See what the other side looks like. So now, as you can see through our camera, we've actually set this up now so that it's blocking our view, which isn't great. So let's get that sorted. We can also move it down a little bit. There we go. So it's a little tricky because we've got so much geometry in the way, but if we just go right to sort of a top view, go into edit mode, get rid of that camera. Actually, I need, there we go, just zoom in a little bit so we can't see. All right, so what we can do is switch it to our transparent X-ray view. And that camera is annoying me. Let's see, can we turn off? Yeah, I can hide cameras. There we go. All right, and I'll just use the B key and I'll box select. Let's box select that. There we go, that actually got it. I've grabbed a little bit of another one, but that shouldn't cause any problems. Jump back to my camera view, and I'm just going to drag this down until it's not in the way. We might even move it on the X. We could even then scale it on the Y and make it like this really narrow, tall tower thing, which is pretty cool. Yeah, nice. All right, and let's see, what about this other one? Of course, now it's blocking things again, so I'll just move it like that. And then where's the other one? All right, so this one is also giving us a little bit of a hard time visually. So I'll just switch back and we will select all of that. I'll try and get it a bit cleaner. And I think that's got it. Jump back into our camera view, turn off transparent, and we'll grab that one on the X and we'll move it back like that. Maybe pop it in like this. No, definitely not like that. Grab it on the Y. There we go. Sweet. So he comes in, he doesn't crash. I might move it over just a little bit more. He doesn't crash into anything, and he lands nice and clean. Beautiful. This thing's like, I think, just feeling way too big. I'm going to scale this down, switch back into my perspective view, and then let's rotate it on the Y. Let's try -90, and scale it on the X, and then wrap it on the Z. Just let it intersect there. There we go. That's kind of cool. That could really add to what we're doing. Okay, so there we go. We've got our car. It lands. Looks good. All right, so what we're going to do is delete all the materials off of our platform. And we're going to assign the building texture, which is what we've got on all of our little buildings. So just get rid of everything. There should be 2 materials on there. Just delete those both, and we just start with the building. And where it says 45, we're going to click that to make it a single user. So now this is its own material, and we're going to call this platform. There we go. All right, so if I switch into render view now, and we want to get rid of all the lights and stuff, so let's go right over to, make sure we've got platform selected. Yep. All right, so we're going to go to base color, and we're just going to unplug the base color, and we're going to switch it just to black for now. There we go. That looks nice. The roughness is set to 0.261, which looks pretty good with that nice kind of glossy reflection. It's going to really serve us well. I'm going to create a bit more space. I feel like I don't have a lot of space here for our car to land. It feels a bit too chaotic. So I'm going to switch back to solid view, and I'm going to delete that guy that we were messing with. I feel like it's just overkill. So let's see what this looks like. Yeah, that's much better. So now we have this nice big stretch of landing platform. And you can see too that bump material that we made for our walls here is working really nicely on this. Like that's looking really cool. Next thing I want us to do is get these holographic rings kind of going. Also want to think about how to improve my frame. So the camera is just off a little bit. I think what I might do is I might just shift it all back a bit so that we're just in frame a bit better. So in order to do that, I need to move my hero car and my platform. Or actually, you know what? Because our car itself, the main hero car here, doesn't have any animation data. It's just the hero car. We can move this one around a little bit, and it won't affect its overall animation. So if we control click platform and switch back to solid view, bring up our selectors and handles and stuff, and then let's just bring it back on I'll switch to global, and let's bring it back on the x-axis just till it's framed up nicely in our shot. Now you'll see what happens is the car still takes off and it still flies and it still looks good. So just making that adjustment, it's offset it from the actual animated hero car. If we turn that on, you can see it's right there, but it still works. So that's good. So now we've got a nice framed shot at the end. All right, groovy. Let's take this and let's go ahead and hide our city. And let's get our landing lights turning on. Okay, so let's start off with, let's get our cursor right here. So let's go cursor to selected. And then I'm going to hit Shift A and let's add in a circle. We're going to scale that down and grab that on the Z axis till it's just up. And we're going to center it just under the car like this. Okay. Now, let's create a sphere. So let's create a UV sphere. Scale that down as well. Bring it up. Scale it right down. And let's move it back. And we're going to position it kind of lined up with the center of this circle. So let's select the circle. Let's find its Y position. Just copy that, grab that sphere, and paste that in. So now it's lined up right with the center of that circle. And I'll scale it down a little bit more, and we'll just line it up with that circle. And then we're going to do some modifiers to this little guy. So let's add in an array modifier. And let's turn off relative offset, turn on constant offset, and we're going to do a constant offset of, let's say, 4 for now. We'll increase the count right up to like 17, 20, 30, 50, doesn't really matter for now. And then we're going to do another modifier, the curve modifier. So select that one. And now we're going to select the curve that we just created here. So we can get this little dropper icon, go over Bezier circle and click that. And that's going to automatically move this object array to follow this curve. So now what we can do is increase our count until it loops all the way around. All right, I want to have it even closer. So I might scale down the sphere even more. So make it real small. Let's increase our count. That's pretty good. One more. All right. Now let's add a material to this. We want to go with something that's like a glowy holographic thing. So let's call this hollow orange. We'll make it an orange. And let's open our shader editor again. Get rid of that. And let's take the alpha down a bit so it's a little transparent. And with the base color, I'm just going to click on emission and then color pick that. So it's going to glow that color. So if I switch now to rendered view, you're going to see it's now emitting light. Not a whole lot of light, but it's emitting light. We could take this emission and turn it way up. But I think that's actually going to be pretty good. If we decrease the alpha right down, you're going to start to see it. That's how we get some transparency in it real easily. And that's what we want. So let's take it down even further. Okay, I might reduce the gaps even more. So I'll go back over here and I'm going to decrease the offset down to, let's try 3. I might even do 2. And then increase the count up so that it loops all the way around. All right, nice. That looks good. Okay, and then I'll add in another array. And this one, we're going to do constant offset as well, but this time we're going to go up on the Z axis. There we go. And then we're going to increase that count up a few. And I think the idea is we're going to have this sort of animate on as the car approaches. So it's like it's a cool landing pad hologram. So I'm going to bring it down as well. So that first row is intersecting the ground. All right, I may have gone up too high. It seems things are running really slowly. So I'm gonna change that down to 200 and back up to 4. There we go, 187. All right, cool. So that's the first element that we'll use. And then let's create one more thing. So let's take our circle. We're going to hit Shift D and just grab it up a bit. I'm just going to turn this back on so we can see it. And this one, what we're going to do is under the Bezier controls here, we're going to go to Geometry, and under Bevel, actually even under Extrude. Yeah, Extrude is what we're going to want. So let's take this up to like 0.01. Let's assign our hologram material to it. And this one, let's change this to, we'll call it Holo Orange 2. And let's make this color maybe a bit more red, like that. And then let's create an array on this one as well. And we're going to send this up like that and do a couple of those. Let's see what that looks like. Turn that off. Yeah, cool. So we get this nice kind of contrasty sort of thing. Let's actually, we're going to make the spheres, we're going to make them, we got a Holo Orange, yeah. We're going to make it not orange. We're going to make it blue. See what that looks like. There we go. And then we need to just make our base color. Let's just make it white. It'll just inherit whatever color we're throwing at it. We make it blue. Oh, that's kind of cool. Kind of an aqua teal. Yeah, that's nice. All right, great. Let's look at that in context. So we'll turn our city back on and jump into our camera. Nice. That looks really cool. We can really, turn up the emission on these guys. If we go into here and take the vibrancy up to say 2, that's going to pump a lot more light out of them, and that looks pretty good. I might even do that to our other hologram. Let's take that up to 2, and now we're going to get lots of nice reflections. Just shining through on that, which is going to look really good. Excellent. Now, one other thing is it's very uniform. So what we're probably going to want to do is taper off the alpha of these as they go up. So the higher they are, the lower the alpha is. We could create some complicated material that does that, but for the sake of time, all we really need to do, because we're just working with a few of these, is just make some separate materials and give them different values. So I'm going to drop this emission vibrancy back to 1. It's a bit too hot for me. And I'm going to go to the Bezier circle that we've created for our hologram. And I'm going to control these separately. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the array modifier on this one. And this will be our first hologram circle. And I'll even call this holo circle 1. And then we're going to Shift D and then grab it on the Z axis. I'll get out of render view. And then Shift D, grab it on the Z, bring it up. There we go. And so with this material, I will click make single user. And I'm going to decrease my alpha, maybe all the way down to, I don't know, 0.1. And then this next one, make sure I've got it selected. I'm going to make it a single user as well. And we'll go 0.12. Let's just have a quick look at how that plays out. All right, we can take that even further. So let's select the top one again and go to 0.05, 0.025. Yeah, that's nice. And this next one, we could just try 0.5 on that one. Actually, that's kind of cool, going up the other way with it. Yeah, that's going to look really nice. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is add in some lights to this specific section to really make it pop. Because right now it's just kind of getting lost a little bit in everything. So let's Shift A, go to lights, and we're going to go to we'll create an area light. And we're going to rotate that on the Y 90. So we're going to point it. Area lights give you this nice arrow that show you, where it's looking. And it's going to create a nice soft light that falls off really well. And it's really dependent upon its size and its shape for the way it looks. Okay, so let's give it maybe like kind of an orange tone to start with. And let's switch into rendered view and get the placement right. So we may have to motivate with some geometry here, but that's not too big of a deal. Let's turn down the intensity. So instead of power of 10, let's go to a power of 5. Again, look back through our camera. Should serve us pretty well. And then I think it'd be cool too if the bottom of our car had some lights underneath it that were kind of making this area light up a little bit. So let's get out of rendered view and just focus in on this, and we will Shift D to duplicate this light. And we're going to rotate on the Y -90. Shrink it right down so it's just real small, and just position it just under the car here. And I'll make these kind of like a blue color. I'll hit Shift D, drag the other one out, and let's see what that looks like. Just grab both of them. Yeah, that's nice. I might pull this second one back a bit so there's a bit more distance between the two of them. And that way we get sort of 2 pinpricks there. And let's try to drop them down to 1. Just make them a bit less potent. And then we want to actually parent them to the car. So we select both of these, and we want to go to our car, control click that. Make sure to do that and not the hero car, the one that's animated, because remember we've moved him back. And we're going to hit Control P, parent, and object. So now those 2 area lights are parented to that car. Okay, so now let's think about when we're going to have the timing for the hologram light up itself. So we'll have the base circles appear right around here, frame 355. And then we're going to have the circles appear and rise around 400. So let's do that. So let's go to frame 355. Let's go to our circles. And what we'll do is we're going to animate a couple of different things. So we're going to animate the array, this one that causes it to rise up. So let's hit I for, actually I want to give it, let's hit it about here, frame 377, go back to frame 355, and we're going to just set that to 0, hit another keyframe. So now those are going to rise up. And then I might even drag it out a bit further so it's a bit slower. And then from frame 400, we're going to have this one move up, this one move up, and the other one. So I'm going to select all 3 of our hollow circles, and actually not the bottom one. So just these top 2. And what I'm going to do is set a keyframe for where I want them to be completed and their movement. So here's pretty good. So I'll set one for that and one for that. And then I'll go back to frame 400. And I'm going to bring this ring down so that it's kind of within the geometry. Yeah, that's good. And I'll hit I, and I'll grab the other one, and I'll do the same. And hit I as well. There we go. So now these guys all rise up. And then as the car starts to land, we're going to repeat that process. So as they come up, and then he intersects it, and then as he's going down, so this one right here, I'll set a keyframe, and this one I'll set a keyframe. And then what I want to do is I could just copy. So copy that keyframe, paste it there, go to the next one, copy and paste. And so now they're going to lower with him and turn off. And then we're going to do the same thing for the circles. So the circles, they're going to go up. These are going to go up. And then these guys animate down. And then when we get to the point where we're online with the circles there, I'm going to copy and paste that first one. And then go to our last frame and copy and paste that last one. So they all kind of dissolve in. Now, the last thing I want to do is, I think when we're at this last frame, everything is within the geometry except for our main hollow circle. We might keep one of them like that. But now if we go to here, I am going to want to animate this one down. So let's grab him. We'll set a keyframe for here, and we'll go back a few and grab him down so that he's inside the geometry, and set a keyframe there. So now all of them should be invisible at this point, which they are. Good. And then they're going to all rise up and lower down. Fantastic. Okay, so let's just have a look at that. So like when they're coming up, this is what it's going to look like. And it's nice because these alpha transparencies are going to double up on top of each other and create different levels of brightness as they intersect, which is nice. Let's jump into our camera. Just check a few of the frames. Yeah, that's nice. Perfect. Okay, last thing we probably want to do is have some kind of landing pad. And we also might want to animate this this light turning on, and again, yeah, motivate it somehow. So let's start off. First thing, let's grab the platform itself. Let's hit Shift D, rotate on the Z axis 90, and maybe scale this one down. And let's grab it on the Z and drop it down. Let's see what this looks like. And we just do this a couple of times to really build this thing up. Turn it into something really interesting. Okay, one more thing we can do, which would be cool, just to add to this. If we go to our sphere and let's hit Shift D to duplicate it. And with our new one, if we take the curve that we've got and we'll just get rid of that. So now it becomes a straight line that kind of goes up like this, like a lined grid pattern. And we can, I think I'll switch to our bright hollow orange for that one. And then we could get rid of the second grid array, or we could keep it. Let's see, let's position it. So grab it on the, actually, let's jump out of rendered view and let's just grab it on the X like that. And I'm going to decrease this down to maybe 100. There we go. And then I'm going to Shift D again, rotate on the Z for 90 degrees. Just create like an X pattern. and move this guy up a bit. Let's see what that looks like. It's probably a bit overkill. Let's get rid of this top level array on both of them. There it is. And grab both and go back to solid view and just bring them up so that they're actually here in our view. This one we could probably, it might be nice to bring it out like this and increase the count up so that it goes right to the wall. And this one I think makes sense if it starts on the platform and ends on the platform. So we'll just decrease that one. There we go. And I think both of these would benefit from the most transparent of our hollow oranges. There we go. And then if we create an empty, get back out of rendered view, turn all that back on, and let's see, where'd it go? Our empty, there it is. Bring that up a bit. And then you can take all these guys and then select that empty, hit Control P to parent. It's going to parent all of them. And then if you select the empty and all of them themselves, hit Shift D, it's going to duplicate that entire group. Now you can grab this empty and move these guys around like that. And you can see it really starts to liven up the landing platform. Now, one of the last thing we can do, there's two notes as well I just want to point out. So my machine, I don't know about yours, is really starting to run slow. I've just done a bit of work trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And it seems to be these Bezier circles are causing the issue. And I am not really sure why. I've gone and messed with the settings and stuff. So they're just really, for some reason, just tipping our scene over the edge. We do a lot of geometry, so it's understandable that we'd hit this point somewhere along the way, but I'm just surprised that it's coming from these, so I feel like there's something else going on. So I'll keep digging to see if I can work that out. But for now, it's probably good to just hide these whenever we're not working in them, and you can see it automatically starts speeding everything up. So I'm gonna turn these back on, and I think what I'll do is I'm gonna put our spheres in there as well, into hollow circle, and put this Bezier circle in there. So now I can just turn all of them off. Now you can see, we're back to real time just by hiding those. So anyway, it's a bit weird. Okay, so one other thing to really kind of just sell the sci-fi-ness, the coolness of this scene, I want to take one of these platforms. Let's take this one. Sorry, I'll turn all that stuff back on. And let's Shift D to duplicate. Scale it down, scale it on the Z, grab it up, move it so we're just under the car. Maybe scale it on the Y a bit. And then bring it up like this, I think. And then what I want to do is in the modifier stack, we're going to go to wireframe. And then for the wireframe thickness, I'm going to do 0.001. So 3 zeros and a 1 should be small enough. That might be too small. Let's get rid of one of those zeros. There we go. Let's grab it on the Y a little bit. Just bring it in there. And then let's assign our dimmest hollow orange material. Now let's check that out. All right, it's a bit too dim. Let's go one up. There we go. That's cool. Now, this doesn't actually make any sense in terms of, what it's functionally doing, but I don't know about you. It looks so cool. I don't really care. So if I turn on our hollow circles again so we can see those, now we're going to get the full effect. All right, that's pretty cool. Now, I want to increase the reflection of this. We're just going to do some final touches now on everything. So let's decrease the roughness of our platform. It's down to maybe like 0.103. That really is going to make it super reflective, which is going to be really cool with all this stuff. All of these guys in the back, I'm not digging the blue, so I might just tweak this a little bit off camera. Just tweak our colors on these things and unify it up a little bit for the next one, but just flag that with you. So last thing we should do is probably animate this cool hologram city effect. So we can do this in two ways. We can, let's go ahead and make this a single user. And where we can animate the alpha, so give it like a flicker effect, and we can also animate the scale. So let's find a good moment to get this to scale up. So we're coming in on it. So maybe let's have it start to expand right here as we're doing this cool whip around motion. So let's grab it, and we're going to go here and hit an I for the scale, and we'll have it maybe be full scale here. So let's go back to this one. If you use the up and down arrows on your keypad, you can actually get to the exact keyframe. And let's hit SZ0. And that's going to scale it down on the Z-axis down to 0. So now I can hit I to create a new keyframe, and those guys grow up, which is really cool. Let's grab it out and drag it out. So they really kind of, might even grab it all the way up to here. So they're like growing the whole time. Sweet. Now let's also have the texture kind of appear on at this point. So let's say we are fully appeared by here. So I'll hit I for that. And then let's give it like a flicker. We'll go back maybe 2 frames and drop this to like 0.01. Hit a keyframe, I, maybe 2, 3 frames, and then back up to like 0.1, I, 1, 2, 3 frames, and let's go to 0, 1, 2, and maybe 0.01, and there we go. Great, so we got all that. Now, probably one last thing to do is I want to put a few more of these platforms along this back wall to kind of hide these windows, because I don't want to see that, we've got these tiny little windows next to a giant car. So let's go back to solid. I'll just grab the main platform, hit Shift D, rotate on the Y. We're going to go 90. No, rotate on the X 90. There we go. 90. There we go. Then grab it on the X. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's much better. Sweet. So here we can go, wrapping it up. We've got our final landing platform. Now this thing is like totally off the wall crazy, which is awesome, I think. We may have gone a little overboard, but why not? If you can't go overboard in 3D, then where can you go overboard in life? So this is how it's going to be. Yeah, so you can get the idea of how we can use things like the wireframe modifier. We can use emission in our shaders. Just to create all kinds of really cool stuff. You could create specific geometry, even put some text in here to create some like holographic signage, whatever you wanted to really, continue to sell this whole thing. So I will catch you next time. Again, if you enjoy these, please like and subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notifications when the new one comes out. And yeah, spread the word, share these around. Let other people know if you're getting into it so that we can find more people to watch and grow the channel. So thanks so much again. Really appreciate everybody taking the time to check these out. And yeah, I hope you're just enjoying them as much as I'm enjoying making them. And I will catch you next time. See ya.